Maya Chen had been awake for almost 20 hours straight. Her scrubs were wrinkled, her hair was falling out of its ponytail, and all she wanted was to get home, take a hot shower, and collapse into bed. Working as an emergency room nurse meant she'd seen just about everything, but tonight had been particularly rough. 3 car accidents, 2 heart attacks, and a kid who'd swallowed a toy car. She was exhausted in a way that went beyond just being tired. The highway was mostly empty at 4 in the morning. Maya had her windows cracked open, letting the cool air keep her alert as she drove. She'd learned a long time ago that after a shift like this, she needed fresh air and maybe some loud music to stay focused on the road. Her apartment was only 15 more minutes away. That's when she saw the car. At first, it was just headlights weaving slightly in the lane ahead of her. Maya frowned and slowed down a bit. Maybe they were drunk, or maybe they were tired like her. She'd give them space. But then the weaving got worse. The car jerked hard to the right, then overcorrected to the left. Maya's heart started pounding. Something was very wrong. She watched in horror as the car suddenly veered off the road completely. It smashed through the metal guardrail like it was made of paper. The sound of screeching metal cutting through the quiet morning. The vehicle disappeared down the embankment on the side of the highway. Maya's training kicked in before her brain could even process what she'd just witnessed. She slammed on her brakes and pulled over to the side of the road, her hands shaking as she grabbed her phone and dialed 911. She was already running toward the broken guardrail as the operator answered. "There's been an accident on Highway 27, northbound about 2 miles past the Morrison exit," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. "A car went through the guardrail. I'm going down to check for survivors." The operator was saying something about waiting for emergency services, but Maya had already pocketed her phone. She could see the car below, maybe 30 feet down the slope. Smoke was rising from the hood. Every instinct told her that she didn't have time to wait. The embankment was steep and covered in loose gravel. Maya half ran, half slid down it, her sneakers struggling to find grip. Branches scraped her arms and face, but she barely noticed. All she could think about was getting to that car. When she reached it, her stomach dropped. The front end was completely crushed against a large tree. The windshield was spiderwebbed with cracks, and the driver's side door was crumpled inward. But what made her blood run cold was the smell of gasoline and the increasing amount of smoke pouring from under the hood. Maya ran to the driver's side and looked in. A young woman, probably in her late 20s, was slumped over the steering wheel. Blood trickled from a cut on her forehead. But then Maya heard it. A sound that made her heart stop and restart all at once. A baby was crying. She rushed to the back door and yanked it open. There, strapped into a car seat, was a tiny infant. The baby's face was red from crying, her little fists waving in the air, but she appeared unharmed. Maya's hands moved automatically, years of medical training guiding her movements as she unbuckled the complex straps of the car seat. "It's okay, sweetie. I've got you. You're safe now," Maya whispered, lifting the baby out of the seat. The infant couldn't have been more than 6 months old. She was wearing pink pajamas with little elephants on them. The moment Maya held the baby against her chest, something strange happened. The world seemed to slow down for just a second. A warmth spread through Maya's entire body, starting from where the baby was pressed against her heart. It was the oddest sensation, like recognition, like coming home after a long trip. Maya shook her head. She didn't have time to think about strange feelings right now. She quickly carried the baby up the embankment, moving as fast as she could while keeping her footing. The baby had stopped crying and was now just whimpering softly. Maya set her down gently on the grass near the roadside, far from the accident, and quickly took off her nurse's jacket to wrap around the tiny body. "Stay here, little one. I'll be right back," she said, though she knew the baby couldn't understand her. Maya slid back down the embankment. The smoke was thicker now, and she could hear a faint crackling sound. She knew that sound. She'd heard it before at accident scenes. Fire was starting somewhere in the engine. The driver's side door was jammed, so Maya ran around to the passenger side. That door opened with a groan of protesting metal. The woman was still unconscious, her breathing shallow. Maya climbed halfway into the car and reached across to unbuckle the seatbelt. Come on," Maya muttered, her fingers fumbling with the latch. Finally, it clicked open. She grabbed the woman under her arms and started pulling. It was awkward and difficult. The woman was dead weight, and Maya had to brace her feet against the ground outside the car to get leverage. Inch by inch, she dragged the woman out of the vehicle. Maya's muscles screamed in protest. her exhaustion from the long shift making everything 10 times harder. But she didn't stop. She couldn't stop. She got the woman out of the car and started pulling her up the embankment, grabbing onto exposed roots and rocks for support. Halfway up, Maya heard it, a soft whooshing sound. She glanced back and saw flames licking out from under the hood of the car. Her arms burned with effort, but she pulled harder, faster. She could hear sirens in the distance now, growing louder. With one final burst of energy fueled by pure adrenaline, Maya dragged the woman up onto the roadside. She immediately checked for a pulse. It was there, weak but steady. The woman's breathing was labored, though, and there was definitely a head injury. Maya carefully positioned her in the recovery position, making sure her airway was clear. The baby was still lying where Maya had left her, now quiet, just staring up at the sky with wide eyes. Maya crawled over to her and picked her up again. That strange feeling came back, stronger this time. It was like the baby was looking right into her soul with those dark eyes. "Your mama's gonna be okay," Maya whispered, though she wasn't entirely sure if that was true. "Help is coming." Fire trucks and ambulances arrived within minutes. Maya watched from the side of the road as firefighters worked to put out the flames that had now fully engulfed the wrecked car. Paramedics rushed over to the unconscious woman, and Maya gave them a quick rundown of the situation as a nurse, explaining the woman's condition and what she'd observed. One of the paramedics, a guy named Tony who Maya actually knew from bringing patients into the ER, looked at her with respect. "That was brave, Maya, really brave. Another minute or two and that car would have been fully ablaze." Maya just nodded. She couldn't find words. She was still holding the baby, who had curled up against her chest and seemed completely content there. The paramedics were loading the woman onto a stretcher now, preparing to transport her. "They're both going to County General," Tony said. "Same place you work. You probably saved both their lives tonight, Maya." As the ambulances drove away with their lights flashing, Maya sat on the hood of her car, still holding the baby. A police officer was asking her questions for the report, but Maya's mind felt foggy. She couldn't stop looking at the tiny face resting against her shoulder. Something about this baby felt important, significant, like their paths were meant to cross. Maya didn't believe in fate. She was a woman of science, of medicine, of facts and evidence, but sitting there on the side of the highway in the early morning light, holding a baby she'd just saved from a burning car, she couldn't shake the feeling that something bigger than chance had just happened. She just didn't know what it meant yet. Maya couldn't explain it to anyone, not even to herself. 3 days had passed since the accident, and she'd gone to the pediatric ward every single day. Not just once, but multiple times during her shifts. She told herself she was just checking on the baby as any concerned medical professional would do. But deep down she knew it was more than that. The baby's name was Lily. Maya had learned that from the chart. Lily Anderson. 6 months old, born on March 15th. Blood type O positive. All the medical details were there in black and white. But they didn't explain the pull Maya felt every time she thought about that tiny face. Lily's mother, Jessica, had been moved out of intensive care after 2 days. She'd had a severe concussion, 3 broken ribs and a fractured wrist, but the doctor said she'd make a full recovery. Maya had introduced herself to Jessica on the second day, explaining that she'd been the one who pulled them from the car. "You saved us," Jessica had said, tears streaming down her face. Her left eye was still badly bruised and her arm was in a cast. "You saved my baby girl. How can I ever thank you?" Maya had brushed it off, saying she'd just done what anyone would do. But they both knew that wasn't true. Not everyone would have climbed down an embankment and pulled 2 people from a smoking car. What Maya hadn't mentioned to Jessica was that she couldn't stop thinking about Lily, that she found herself making excuses to walk past the pediatric ward, that she'd volunteered to help with Lily's care even though she worked in the ER, not pediatrics. On the 4th day, Maya was sitting in the hospital cafeteria during her lunch break when Jessica wheeled herself over in a wheelchair. Her recovery was going well, but she still wasn't steady enough to walk long distances. "Mind if I join you?" Jessica asked. "Of course not," Maya said, quickly clearing space at the table. Jessica settled into her wheelchair with a wince. "I wanted to talk to you about something. The nurses tell me you've been visiting Lily every day." Maya felt her cheeks flush. "I hope that's okay. I just wanted to make sure she was doing all right. After everything that happened." "It's more than okay," Jessica said softly. It's actually kind of amazing. Lily doesn't like most people. She's been a fussy baby since birth. Cries with the nurses, cries with the doctors. But with you, she's calm. She smiles. I've noticed it every time I've seen you hold her. Maya looked down at her sandwich. She's a sweet baby. I don't have anyone, Jessica said suddenly. My husband died 2 years ago. Cancer. My family and we had a falling out years back. We don't speak anymore. It's just been me and Lily. And now I'm injured and I don't know how I'm going to manage when they discharge us. I can barely lift my own arm, let alone carry a baby. Maya looked up and saw the fear in Jessica's eyes. This was a woman who was trying to be strong but was terrified underneath. What about friends? Maya asked. Jessica laughed, but it was a bitter sound. I moved to this city for my husband's job. After he died, I was so depressed that I pushed everyone away. I have coworkers I'm friendly with, but no one I could ask to help me care for my daughter. An idea formed in Maya's mind. It was probably crazy. She'd known this woman for 4 days, but the words came out anyway. I could help. I mean, if you need someone to watch Lily while you recover. I have experience with babies from working in the hospital and I have days off. I could come by, help out. Jessica stared at her. You would do that? For a stranger? You're not a stranger, Maya said. Not after everything that's happened. That's how it started. When Jessica and Lily were discharged a week later, Maya began going to their small apartment 3 times a week. She'd help with feeding, changing, and just keeping Lily entertained while Jessica rested and healed. Jessica lived in a modest 1-bedroom place on the east side of town. The walls were covered with photos of Jessica, her late husband, and Lily. It was clear how much love existed in this little family. But what was even clearer was the bond that was forming between Maya and Lily. Every time Maya walked through the door, Lily would light up. Her whole face would break into a huge gummy smile, and she'd wave her little arms excitedly. When Maya held her, Lily would settle immediately, often falling asleep within minutes. I swear you must have some kind of magic touch, Jessica said, one afternoon watching as Lily dozed contentedly in Maya's arms. She fought her nap for an hour with me and you hold her for 5 minutes and she's out. Maya looked down at the sleeping baby. I don't know what it is. I feel calm when I'm with her too. It's like everything else just fades away. Jessica tilted her head, studying Maya. Can I ask you something personal? Do you have kids of your own? No, Maya said. I've always been so focused on my career, and I never found the right person to start a family with. I always thought maybe someday, but that someday just never came. Well, Jessica said with a small smile, you're a natural. Lily's lucky to have you in her life. As the weeks passed, Maya's visits became more frequent. She'd come over even on days when Jessica didn't need help, just to see Lily. They'd play on the floor with colorful toys. Maya would read board books to her, doing funny voices that made Lily giggle. She'd sing soft lullabies at bedtime, songs her own mother had sung to her when she was little. But then the dreams started. At first, they were vague and fleeting. Maya would wake up with images in her mind that faded as soon as she tried to focus on them. A hospital room, the feeling of fear, a hand reaching out. But gradually, the dreams became more vivid and more detailed. In one dream, Maya was in a delivery room, but she wasn't herself. She was someone else looking down at her own very pregnant belly. There was excitement but also terror. Something was wrong. She could feel it. Doctors were rushing around. Someone was saying something about blood pressure. And then there was pain, terrible pain, and a feeling of fading, of slipping away. Maya would wake from these dreams gasping, her heart racing. They felt too real to be just regular dreams. They felt like memories, but they couldn't be. They weren't her memories. One night, after a particularly intense dream, Maya found herself sitting up in bed at 3 a.m, her hands shaking. In the dream, she'd been holding a baby. Not Lily, but another baby. And she'd known with absolute certainty that she was dying, that she wouldn't get to watch this baby grow up. The grief and loss had been overwhelming. Maya tried to shake it off. She was probably just stressed. Working long shifts at the hospital, spending so much time with Lily, maybe not getting enough sleep. That had to be it. Dreams were just dreams, her brain processing the day's events and emotions. But the feeling wouldn't go away, and the more time she spent with Lily, the stronger the sensation became. It was like recognition, like her soul knew this baby somehow, from somewhere, somewhen. 2 months after the accident, Jessica threw a small dinner to thank Maya. It was just the three of them, pizza and salad, nothing fancy. Nothing. Lily sat in her high chair, making a mess with mashed banana. "I don't know what I would have done without you," Jessica said, raising her glass of water and a toast. "You saved our lives that night, and then you just kept on saving us every day after. You're family now, Maya. I mean that." Family. The word hit Maya harder than she expected. She did feel like family with them, more than she'd felt with anyone in years. Her own parents had passed away when she was in college, and she didn't have siblings. She'd been alone for so long she'd forgotten what it felt like to have people who cared. "There's something I need to tell you," Maya said suddenly. She hadn't planned to say anything, but the words tumbled out. "Something strange has been happening to me, ever since the accident." Jessica put down her glass. "What kind of strange?" "I've been having these dreams," Maya began. She told Jessica everything, about the delivery room, about the feeling of dying, about the overwhelming sense of loss and grief, about how when she held Lily, she felt like she'd known her forever. Jessica had gone very pale. She set down her fork and stared at Maya for a long moment. "What?" Maya asked. "What is it?" "I had a sister," Jessica said quietly. "Her name was Rebecca. She was 5 years younger than me. We were incredibly close, best friends really." "Had?" Maya whispered. "She died 5 years ago," Jessica continued, her voice thick with emotion. "In childbirth. There were complications. She and the baby both died." Tears were streaming down Jessica's face now. "Before she died, she made me promise something. She made me promise that if I ever had a daughter, I would name her Lily. It was her favorite flower." Maya felt like all the air had been sucked out of the room. Her skin was covered in goosebumps. "Rebecca loved to sing," Jessica went on. "And you know that lullaby you always sing to Lily? The one about the stars and the moon? That was Rebecca's favorite. She used to sing it all the time." "Jessica, I don't understand what's happening," Maya said. "Neither do I," Jessica replied. "But maybe we're not supposed to understand it. Maybe some things are just meant to be." That night, lying in bed, Maya couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about Rebecca, about a woman she'd never met who died bringing life into the world, about the dreams that felt like memories, about the inexplicable connection she felt to Lily. Could it be possible? Could souls really be connected across time and space? Maya had never believed in anything like that before, but she couldn't deny what she was experiencing. The pull she felt toward Lily wasn't random. It wasn't just compassion or maternal instinct. It was something deeper, something she couldn't name or explain with science or logic. As she finally drifted off to sleep, Maya had a moment of absolute clarity. Whatever this connection was, whether it made sense or not, whether she could explain it or not, one thing was certain. She was meant to be in Lily's life. She was meant to be there that night on the highway. She was meant to save that baby, and somehow she knew that this was only the beginning. The dreams were getting worse. Or maybe they were getting clearer. Maya wasn't sure which was more disturbing. What had started as vague images had become full scenes playing out in her mind every night. She was seeing entire moments from a life she'd never lived. In one dream, she was walking through a farmer's market on a sunny day, her hand resting on a swollen belly. She could feel the baby moving inside. There was excitement mixed with nervousness. She was looking at baby clothes, tiny onesies with ducks on them. Someone called her name, but it wasn't Maya. It was Rebecca. In another dream, she was sitting in a nursery, painting the walls a soft yellow. Her hands were covered in paint. She was humming that lullaby again, the one she sang to Lily. She was imagining what it would be like to hold her baby for the first time. She was making plans, so many plans, for a future that would never happen. Maya started researching. She'd never been the type to believe in anything supernatural or spiritual, but desperation was making her open-minded. She spent hours online reading about reincarnation, soul connections, and past life memories. Some of it seemed like nonsense, but some of it resonated in a way that made her uncomfortable. One article talked about how souls sometimes reincarnate within the same family. Another discussed the concept of soul groups, people who are meant to find each other across lifetimes. A third mentioned how unfinished business or strong emotional connections could create bonds that transcend death. Maya felt ridiculous reading this stuff. She was a nurse, a woman of science. She believed in things she could see and measure and prove, but she also couldn't deny what she was experiencing. The dreams felt too specific, too detailed to be just her imagination. 3 months after the accident, Maya was having coffee with her grandmother, the only family she had left. Helen Chen was 82 years old and sharp as ever. She'd raised Maya after her parents died and they'd always been close. Helen was the one person Maya felt she could tell anything to. "You look tired, dear," Helen said, stirring honey into her tea. They were sitting in Helen's small kitchen surrounded by plants and old family photos. "I haven't been sleeping well," Maya admitted. "Bad dreams?" Maya hesitated, then decided to just say it. "Grandma, do you believe in reincarnation?" Helen's eyebrows went up. She set down her spoon carefully. "That's quite a question. What brought this on?" So Maya told her. Everything. The accident, Lily, the connection she felt, the dreams, and what Jessica had told her about Rebecca. Helen listened without interrupting, her face growing more thoughtful as the story went on. When Maya finished, Helen was quiet for a long moment. Then she reached across the table and took Maya's hand. "Your grandfather, before he passed, used to tell me about his dreams," Helen said softly. "He dreamed about his brother who died in the war. Not sad dreams, but memories, things they'd done together as children that your grandfather had forgotten when he was awake. He believed his brother was visiting him, keeping the memories alive." "What do you think is happening to me?" Maya asked. "I think," Helen said carefully, "that the universe is bigger and stranger than we can understand. I think that love and connection are powerful forces. And I think that sometimes when someone leaves this world with unfinished business, with love that has nowhere to go, it finds a way. But I never knew Rebecca. How can I have her memories?" "Maybe you don't have her memories," Helen suggested. "Maybe you have her essence, her spirit. Maybe part of her soul found a home in you, so she could still be there for the baby she never got to hold." Maya felt tears welling up. "That sounds crazy." "Most of the important things in life sound crazy when you try to explain them," Helen said with a gentle smile. "Love sounds crazy. The fact that we're alive at all sounds crazy. Maybe you're not supposed to understand it. Maybe you're just supposed to accept it." But accepting it wasn't easy. Maya's scientific mind kept fighting against what her heart was telling her. She needed more answers. She needed to understand what was happening to her. That's when her coworker, a nurse named Patricia, mentioned something during a lunch break. They were talking about stress and anxiety, and Patricia brought up this woman she'd gone to see. "Her name is Elena. She's a spiritual counselor or medium or whatever you want to call it," Patricia said. "I was skeptical at first, but she helped me process some stuff after my mom died. She didn't claim to talk to ghosts or anything dramatic. She just helped me understand my feelings and the signs I thought I was seeing." Maya normally would have dismissed this immediately, but these weren't normal circumstances. She found herself looking up Elena's information that night. The website was simple and professional. Elena described herself as an intuitive counselor who helped people understand spiritual experiences and connections. There were testimonials from people who said she'd helped them find peace and clarity. Against every rational instinct she had, Maya made an appointment. Elena's office was in a quiet building downtown. Maya had expected something weird, maybe with crystals and incense and mystical music, but the space was surprisingly normal. Comfortable chairs, soft lighting, plants in the corners. It looked more like a therapist's office than anything else. Elena herself was probably in her 50s with kind eyes and a calm demeanor. She offered Maya tea and they sat down across from each other. "Tell me what brought you here," Elena said simply. Maya had prepared herself to feel foolish, but somehow it was easy to talk to Elena. She went through the whole story again. The accident, Lily, Jessica, Rebecca, the dreams. As she spoke, Elena listened intently, occasionally making notes. When Maya finished, Elena was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "May I hold your hands?" Maya nodded and extended her hands. Elena took them gently. Her hands were warm. She closed her eyes and Maya felt awkward, not sure what she was supposed to do. She kept her eyes open, watching Elena's face. After what felt like several minutes, Elena opened her eyes. Her expression was serious. "There's a very strong energy around you," Elena said quietly. "It's not your energy. It's someone else's intertwined with yours. Female, young. There's sadness, but also love, so much love." Maya's heart was pounding. "Rebecca?" "I don't get names," Elena said. "But I can tell you what I'm sensing. This energy has been with you for a while. Possibly your whole life, but it activated recently. Something happened that woke it up, made it stronger." "The accident," Maya whispered. "The soul I'm sensing had unfinished business. A child she was meant to love and protect. When you saved that baby, you created a bridge. You became the vessel for this protective energy. In a way, you're carrying her purpose, her love for that child." "Is it reincarnation?" Maya asked. Elena shook her head. "Not exactly. Your soul is your own. But souls can share space, especially when there's a common purpose. Think of it like two streams flowing together. They're still separate, but they're moving in the same direction." "Why me?" Maya asked. "Why would Rebecca's soul connect with me?" "That I can't tell you," Elena admitted. "But in my experience, these connections aren't random. Maybe you and she were connected in another life. Maybe your soul agreed to help her before you were even born. Maybe you were just in the right place at the right time, and your energy was compatible with hers. The universe works in ways we can't always understand." Maya felt overwhelmed. "So what am I supposed to do with this information?" "Honor it," Elena said simply. "You've been given a gift, Maya, a chance to be part of something beautiful. That little girl needs you. The mother needs you. And maybe you need them too. Don't fight it. Don't try to rationalize it away. Just let it be what it is." As Maya left Elena's office, her mind was spinning. Part of her still wanted to reject everything she'd been told. It was too strange, too impossible. But another part of her, a deeper part, recognized the truth in Elena's words. That night, Maya had the most vivid dream yet. She was in a hospital delivery room, but she was watching from above like a ghost. She could see Rebecca on the bed, could see the doctors working frantically. She could feel Rebecca's fear and pain, but she could also feel Rebecca's love. This overwhelming tsunami of love for a baby she would never get to raise. And then, in the dream, Rebecca looked up. Looked right at Maya, even though that should have been impossible. And Maya heard words not spoken out loud, but communicated directly to her soul. "Thank you for finding her. Please love her for me." Maya woke up crying. She lay in the dark, tears streaming down her face, and she finally let herself accept what her heart had been trying to tell her for months. She was connected to Rebecca. She was meant to be in Lily's life. This wasn't random or coincidental or crazy. This was destiny. The next morning, Maya went to Jessica's apartment. Lily was playing on a mat on the floor, gurgling happily at her toys. Jessica was folding laundry nearby. "I went to see someone," Maya said. "A spiritual counselor. Her name is Elena." Jessica looked up surprised. "Oh?" She confirmed what we've been thinking. "There's a connection between me and Rebecca, between me and Lily. I don't fully understand it, but I believe it now. I believe that somehow Rebecca is part of this." Jessica set down the shirt she was folding. "What does that mean?" "It means I'm not going anywhere," Maya said firmly. "I'm meant to be in Lily's life. Maybe I'm meant to be the aunt she would have had if Rebecca had lived. Maybe it's something else. But I'm committed to this, to you both, if you'll have me." Jessica's eyes filled with tears. She crossed the room and pulled Maya into a tight hug. "I was hoping you'd say something like that, because I can't imagine our life without you in it anymore." Lily chose that moment to let out a happy squeal. Both women looked down at her. She was reaching up toward them, her face split in a huge smile. Maya picked her up and Lily immediately snuggled into her neck. And in that moment, Maya felt it clearly. A presence warm and gentle and loving wrapped around all three of them. It felt like approval, like gratitude, like a sister and an aunt and a guardian angel all at once. Rebecca was here in whatever way she could be. And she was happy. Maya closed her eyes and sent a silent message back. I promise I'll take care of her. I'll love her like she's my own. You can rest now. I've got her. The warmth intensified for just a second like a hug from the inside and then settled into a peaceful glow. Maya opened her eyes and looked at Jessica, who was watching her with a knowing expression. She's here, isn't she? Jessica whispered. Yeah, Maya said softly. I think she is. After her visit with Elena, Maya found herself wanting to know more about Rebecca. Not just the facts of how she died, but who she was as a person, what she loved, what she dreamed about, what made her laugh. It felt important somehow, like understanding Rebecca would help Maya understand herself better. Jessica had been hesitant at first when Maya asked about her sister. The grief was still raw even after 5 years. But slowly, as the weeks went by, she began to share memories. They were sitting on Jessica's couch one evening after putting Lily to bed. Jessica pulled out an old photo album from the closet, one Maya had never seen before. I haven't looked at these in years, Jessica said softly, running her hand over the worn cover. It hurt too much. The first photo showed 2 little girls, maybe 8 and 3 years old, building a sandcastle on a beach. The older girl, clearly Jessica, had her arm protectively around the younger one, who was grinning at the camera with missing front teeth. That's Rebecca, Jessica said. We went to the beach every summer when we were kids. She loved the ocean. Said she was going to be a marine biologist when she grew up. Did she? Maya asked. No, Jessica said with a sad smile. She became a kindergarten teacher instead. She loved kids. Always wanted a big family of her own someday. They went through the album slowly. There was Rebecca at her high school graduation, Rebecca on her wedding day, Rebecca laughing at a birthday party. In every photo, she had this bright, joyful energy that practically radiated off the page. She looks happy, Maya said. She was, Jessica replied. Even when bad things happened, Rebecca always found the positive side. When her husband left her during the pregnancy, she said it just meant more room in the bed and more ice cream for her. Maya looked up sharply. Her husband left her while she was pregnant. Jessica nodded bitterly. He decided he wasn't ready to be a father. Just packed up and left one day when she was 6 months along. Broke her heart. But Rebecca, being Rebecca, she focused on the baby. Said that baby would have enough love from her and from me to make up for a deadbeat dad. But she never got to give that love, Maya said quietly. No, Jessica whispered. She never did. As Maya looked through more photos, something started to feel familiar. In one picture, Rebecca was wearing a silver bracelet with a charm on it. Maya squinted at the image. What kind of charm is that? She asked. Jessica leaned in to look. Oh, that was her favorite bracelet. The charm was a little flower. A lily, actually. Our grandmother gave it to her before she died. Rebecca wore it every single day. Maya's hand went unconsciously to her own wrist. 2 years ago, she'd found a silver bracelet at a thrift store. She'd been drawn to it immediately, even though she didn't usually wear jewelry. It had a small lily charm on it. She'd worn it almost every day since. Maya, what is it? Jessica asked, noticing her expression. Wordlessly, Maya held up her wrist. Jessica's eyes went wide as she saw the bracelet. Where did you get that? A thrift store, Maya said, her voice shaky. 2 years ago. I saw it and just had to have it. I didn't know why. I just felt like it was meant to be mine. Jessica reached out and touched the bracelet with trembling fingers. Rebecca was wearing this when she died. I gave it to the funeral home along with her other jewelry. They asked if I wanted to keep anything, but I couldn't. It was too painful. They said they'd donate everything to charity. The 2 women stared at each other in stunned silence. The coincidence was too big, too impossible to ignore. That's not possible, Maya finally said. The chances of me randomly finding Rebecca's actual bracelet in a thrift store in a city this size? That's impossible. Unless it wasn't random, Jessica said softly. Unless somehow you were meant to find it. Maya felt goosebumps rise on her arms. She looked down at the bracelet, this simple piece of jewelry she'd worn for 2 years without knowing its significance. Had Rebecca's spirit guided her to it? Had it been a sign even back then, before the accident, before Lily? Over the next few weeks, more similarities between Maya and Rebecca emerged. Jessica mentioned that Rebecca loved classical music, especially Chopin. Maya had a playlist of Chopin pieces that she listened to constantly. Rebecca had been left-handed. So was Maya. Rebecca had a birthmark on her left shoulder blade shaped like a heart. Maya had the same birthmark in the same place. The most striking similarity came when Jessica was cleaning out her storage unit and found an old journal of Rebecca's. She brought it over to show Maya, thinking she might want to read it. "Are you sure?" Maya asked. "This seems really personal." "Rebecca would want you to read it," Jessica said. "I think she'd want you to know her." That night, Maya sat down with the journal. It was from the last year of Rebecca's life during her pregnancy. The entries were honest and raw, full of hopes and fears about becoming a mother. As Maya read, she felt that familiar warmth, that sense of connection. But what really shocked her was Rebecca's writing style. The way she structured her sentences, the phrases she used, even the way she made jokes in the margins. It was eerily similar to Maya's own writing style. One entry in particular made Maya's breath catch. "I'm scared I won't be a good enough mother. What if I mess this up? What if my baby needs someone better than me? But then I think, maybe love is all that matters. Maybe if I love this baby with everything I have, that will be enough. And if something happens to me, I hope someone out there will love my baby the way I would have. I hope some angel will step in and give my child all the love I'm storing up in my heart." Maya had to put the journal down. She was crying so hard she couldn't see the pages anymore. Rebecca had known. Maybe not consciously, but on some level she'd known she wouldn't make it. And she'd hoped, she'd wished for exactly what had happened. For someone to love her baby the way she would have. "I'm here," Maya whispered to the empty room. "I'm that person. I'm here, Rebecca." The next day was a Saturday, and Maya had planned to spend it with Jessica and Lily at the park. It was a beautiful spring day, warm but not too hot. They spread out a blanket under a big oak tree, and Lily crawled around exploring the grass. "I read the journal," Maya said. Jessica looked over at her, and she knew something might happen. She wrote about hoping someone would love her baby if she couldn't. Jessica's eyes filled with tears. "I read that entry too after she died. It haunted me for years. I felt like I'd failed her because I was so wrapped up in my own grief that I wasn't there for her at the end." "What do you mean?" Maya asked gently. Jessica took a deep breath. "When Rebecca went into labor, she was alone. I was supposed to be with her, but I was at work. And by the time I got to the hospital, she was already in the delivery room. I wasn't holding her hand. I wasn't telling her everything would be okay. She died without me there, and I've never forgiven myself for that. Jessica, that wasn't your fault." "Maybe not," Jessica said, "but it's still something I carry. And then when I had Lily and I was in that hospital room alone because I'd pushed everyone away, I understood how scared Rebecca must have been, how alone she must have felt." Maya reached over and squeezed Jessica's hand. "She's not alone now. Neither of you are." They watched Lily, who had discovered a dandelion and was trying to eat it. Jessica gently redirected her, offering her a teething toy instead. "Can I tell you something strange?" Jessica asked. "After everything we've been through, I don't think anything could sound strange anymore," Maya said with a small laugh. "When I look at you with Lily," Jessica said slowly, "sometimes I see Rebecca. Not your face, but the expressions. The way you tilt your head when you're listening to Lily babble. The way you hum that lullaby. The way you play with her. It's exactly how I imagine Rebecca would have been with her own baby." "Do you think that's really possible?" Maya asked. "That part of Rebecca is in me?" Jessica was quiet for a moment, watching a bird hop across the grass. "I think I've stopped trying to understand what's possible and what's not. I just know that you appeared in our lives exactly when we needed you. You saved us from that car, and you've been saving us every day since. Whether that's because you have Rebecca's spirit, or because you're an angel in your own right, I don't care. I'm just grateful." "I'm grateful too," Maya said. "Before you and Lily, I felt like I was just going through the motions. Work, sleep, repeat. I was lonely, but I didn't realize how lonely until I wasn't anymore." Lily chose that moment to crawl over to Maya and pull herself up using Maya's leg. She stood there wobbling, so proud of herself, looking up at Maya with pure joy on her face. "Mama," Lily said clearly. Both women froze. It was Lily's first word. "Oh, sweetie, that's me, I'm Mama," Jessica said, reaching for Lily. But Lily ignored her mother and patted Maya's leg. "Mama," she said again, grinning. Maya didn't know what to say. She looked at Jessica, terrified that she'd be hurt or angry. But Jessica was smiling through tears. I'm not upset, Jessica said quickly. Really, I'm not. You're as much her mother as I am, Maya. You've been here since she was 6 months old. She loves you like a mother. But you're her mother, Maya protested. I would never want to take that from you. You're not taking anything, Jessica said firmly. You're adding to it. Lily is lucky enough to have 2 mothers who love her. That's a gift, not a problem. Maya picked up Lily and held her close. The baby snuggled into her shoulder, content and happy, and Maya felt that familiar warmth again, that sense of rightness. Thank you, Rebecca, Maya whispered, so quietly that only she could hear. Thank you for trusting me with her. Later that evening, after Maya had gone home, she stood in front of her bathroom mirror. She unclasped the silver bracelet with the lily charm and held it in her palm. Such a small thing, but it had connected her to a woman she'd never met, to a life that had ended too soon, to a love that had found a way to continue beyond death. Maya thought about Elena's words, about souls sharing purpose, about streams flowing together. She thought about Rebecca's journal entry, about hoping someone would love her baby. She thought about that moment on the highway when she'd first held Lily and felt that instant connection. It all made sense now. Not logical sense, but heart sense, soul sense. Maya fastened the bracelet back on her wrist. It felt heavier now, weighted with meaning and history and love. We're doing this together, aren't we? She said to her reflection, but also to the presence she sometimes felt around her. You and me were taking care of Lily together. The bathroom light flickered just once. Maya smiled. She'd learned not to dismiss these little signs anymore. I'll take that as a yes, she said. That night she had no dreams. Instead, she slept peacefully, deeply, the best sleep she'd had in months. And when she woke up the next morning, she felt different, lighter, more complete, like a piece of her that had been missing had finally fallen into place. She finally understood who she was supposed to be. Not just Maya Chen, ER nurse, not just Maya Chen, Lily's godmother, but Maya Chen, the person chosen to carry forward Rebecca's love. The person who stood in the gap between what was lost and what still could be. It was a beautiful purpose, and Maya was ready to embrace it fully. 6 months had passed since Maya first learned about Rebecca. In that time, life had shifted and settled into something beautiful. Maya had officially become Lily's godmother in a small ceremony at Jessica's apartment. No fancy church, no big crowd, just the 3 of them, and Elena, who'd agreed to perform a blessing. Elena had held Lily in her arms and said, "This child is surrounded by love from this world and beyond. She has a mother who would move mountains for her, and a guardian whose soul carries the light of someone who couldn't stay but refused to leave. May she grow up knowing she is cherished beyond measure." Maya had cried through the whole thing. Happy tears, though. The kind that wash away old pain and make room for new joy. Now it was late fall and Lily had just turned 1 year old. She was walking, sort of. More like controlled falling, really. She'd take 3 wobbly steps and then plop down on her bottom, laughing every time. Maya and Jessica spent half their time following her around, making sure she didn't hurt herself. Maya had moved closer to Jessica's apartment, just 2 blocks away now. She'd given up her old place because she was spending so much time at Jessica's anyway. It made more sense to be nearby. That way, if Jessica needed help in the middle of the night or if Lily was sick, Maya could be there in minutes. But it was more than just practical. Maya wanted to be close to her family. That's what they were now. Her family, the family she'd been missing for so long without realizing it. One Thursday evening, Maya let herself into Jessica's apartment with her key. She was carrying groceries for dinner, planning to make Rebecca's favorite pasta dish. Jessica had found the recipe in one of Rebecca's old cookbooks, and they'd been making it once a week, like a tradition. "We're in the living room," Jessica called out. Maya set the groceries down and walked in to find Jessica sitting on the floor surrounded by photo albums and old boxes. Lily was helping by pulling photos out and scattering them around. "What's all this?" Maya asked. "I've been putting together a memory book," Jessica said, for Lily about Rebecca. "I want her to grow up knowing her aunt, knowing where she came from. And I want her to know about you too, about how you came into our lives." Maya sat down on the floor and picked up one of the scattered photos. It showed Rebecca at around 20, sitting on a porch swing with a book in her lap. She was smiling at whoever was taking the picture, her face full of light and life. "She was beautiful," Maya said softly. She was, Jessica agreed. And in weird moments, I see her in you. Like the other day when you laughed at Lily's silly face. The way your nose scrunched up? That was exactly Rebecca's laugh. Maya had stopped being surprised by these connections. They happened all the time now. She'd reach for something and Jessica would say, "That's Rebecca's favorite." She'd make a gesture and Jessica would get misty-eyed because it was something Rebecca used to do. It was like the more Maya allowed herself to accept the connection, the more it revealed itself. "Can I tell you something?" Jessica said, setting down the album she'd been looking through. "I've been thinking about this for a while and I want to make it official." "Make what official?" "I want to put you in my will as Lily's guardian," Jessica said. "If anything ever happened to me, I want Lily to stay with you. I want it legally documented." Maya's throat tightened. "Jessica, that's huge." "Are you sure?" "I've never been more sure of anything," Jessica said firmly. "You're already her second mother in every way that matters. You love her like she's yours. And I know in my bones that you'd take care of her the way I would, the way Rebecca would have." "I would," Maya said, tears spilling down her cheeks. "I absolutely would." "I love her so much, Jessica. Some days it scares me how much I love her." "That's how I know you're the right person," Jessica said with a gentle smile. Lily, who'd been focused on systematically pulling every photo out of a box, suddenly looked up and crawled over to Maya. She pulled herself up onto Maya's lap and patted Maya's wet cheeks with her small hands. "No cry, Mama," she said seriously. Lily had taken to calling both Jessica and Maya Mama, usually differentiating them as Mama Jessie and Mama May. Neither woman had the heart to correct her. "Happy tears. Baby girl," Maya said, kissing Lily's forehead. "These are happy tears." That weekend, they went to the cemetery together for the first time. It was something Jessica had been wanting to do but hadn't felt ready for until now. Rebecca was buried in a small cemetery on the outskirts of town, under a maple tree that was brilliant red and gold with autumn colors. The headstone was simple. Rebecca Lynn Anderson, beloved sister, teacher, friend, gone too soon but never forgotten. Jessica laid down fresh flowers, lilies of course, while Maya hung back a bit, giving her friend space. Lily was strapped to Maya's back in a carrier, babbling about the falling leaves. After a few minutes, Jessica motioned for Maya to come closer. "She'd want to meet you," she said. "Both of you." Maya knelt down next to the headstone, adjusting the carrier so Lily could see. She wasn't sure what to say. How do you talk to someone who might be partially living inside you? "Hi, Rebecca," she started, feeling awkward. "I'm Maya. I guess you already know that, though. I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for trusting me with Lily. Thank you for whatever it is you did to bring us together. I promise I'm doing my best. She's amazing, by the way. So smart and funny. She has your smile." Jessica showed me pictures. Lily reached out from the carrier toward the headstone, her little hand opening and closing like she was trying to grab something. "BB," Lily said, which was how she pronounced her attempt at Rebecca. Both women looked at each other in shock. "No one had taught Lily to say that name. How does she know?" Jessica whispered. Maya felt that warmth again, that presence that had become so familiar. "Because Rebecca wants her to know," she said softly. They sat there for a while in peaceful silence. Three living souls and one that existed somewhere beyond their understanding, all connected by love and loss and the strange magic of the universe. As they were leaving, Maya stopped and looked back at the gravestone. "I won't let you down," she said quietly. "I promise." The maple leaves rustled in the breeze and Maya could have sworn she heard a whisper. "I know." That winter, Maya made a decision. She'd been thinking about it for months and she finally felt ready. She called Elena and set up an appointment. "I want to stop fighting it," Maya told Elena when they met. "The connection with Rebecca. I've been trying to keep boundaries, trying to remember where I end and she begins. But maybe that's not the point. Maybe we're supposed to blend." Elena looked at her thoughtfully. "What changed your mind?" "Lily," Maya said simply. "I realized I was holding back because I was scared. Scared of losing myself, scared of what it all meant. But Lily doesn't care about any of that. She just knows she's loved. And that's what matters. Rebecca's love, my love, it's all the same to her. So why should I keep trying to separate it?" "That's very wise," Elena said. "And very brave. Surrendering to something you don't fully understand is one of the hardest things a person can do." "It doesn't feel hard anymore," Maya admitted. "It feels right." That night Maya did something she'd been hesitant to do before. She sat in her apartment with Rebecca's journal and read it from beginning to end. Not just skimming this time, but really reading, letting herself feel everything Rebecca had felt.